The next survey which we will cover in this is a passive survey. In fact, the mistakes that we can do in a passive survey, I think the mistakes are quite similar in the active survey as well. So what we will do is we will cover active passive survey and active survey in the same video, right? So passive and active survey are post-deployment survey, which means the network is already live and running. Clients are working, connecting on the Wi-Fi, and they're facing some sort of an issue. So the first and the foremost mistake that a person can make is when we go and do a survey, we have to first ask the customer what is the issue. What is the issue on the ground? Okay. Check this, because a passive survey is just listening to the RF signal passively. Active survey connects to the SSID and sends pings, ICMP packets, and then checks different issues. So for a coverage issue, you do a passive survey. For a client connectivity issue, a client drop, a roaming problem, or packet loss, jitter, lag, you do an active survey. So if there is a requirement or there seems to be a coverage hole somewhere, do not go and do an active survey. It won't make sense, right? Make sure you know what the issue is and take the right call. Recently, I interacted with one of the partners. He wanted to do a survey. He was looking to do an active survey, but it was a coverage hole problem. So I had to correct him as to which survey needs to be done. So yeah, this is a common mistake that people make on the ground. So we need to know what exactly each survey is for and then take the right call, right? When doing a passive or an active survey, you have to connect a Proxim adapter or two Proxim adapters running on 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. Make sure we receive signal on both 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. It's possible that while you're walking and doing a survey, one of the Proxim adapters got loose or stops responding to the laptop. So that's when you will see a dead end, or there'll be like no data received or signal received. You have to make sure, after every couple of minutes you check that yes, there is some data received. There's a live view on top of the Ekahu tool or air magnet tool, any tool that you're running with. There has to be a live view on the top on the same screen where you will be able to see if any signal is received or not. So make sure at all times you receive the signal. The third is something similar to predictive. Make sure the map is scaled before you start the walk, right? This is anyway a common mistake that people do make. When you're doing a passive survey or an active survey and you're walking on the floor, there'll be like many walls which will come in between. So you have to make sure that we take the reading on both sides of the wall all the time. We have to know what the signal is like on both sides of the wall, so that it will help us get a better view of things. When you enter a room and you do a site survey, make sure we have to make sure we close the door of the room when we collect data. Okay, so the reason is, in real time, when a client is doing when the client is sitting and working, his door will be closed. So you have to know that in real time how will it be really on the ground, and when you collect data, so the door has to be closed, and then you're inside the room walking and then taking the reading. So make sure you do that. And this is specific for an active survey. I'll mention it right here. Make sure we connect. Let me just erase this 1 second. Make sure we connect to the. Alright, let's do this. Make sure we connect to the right SSID. So in an active survey, we do connect to an SSID and start sending traffic. right? And then you check the packet loss as to what's the behavior like. We have to make sure that we connect to the right SSID and not to the one that is not under investigation. So this is essential so that your entire survey is done properly. A very common problem that I've also faced here is that people don't know which SSID to connect to. So check with the customer before you start the survey which SSID is under investigation, okay? Because there could be a certain SSID which is broadcasting only on a few APs, not on all of them. So if you get the SSID wrong before you connect to the SSID, you have to you might face dead zones in between where the signal is not there. So just make sure you do that right as well. So this is a point which is common to which is only valid for an active server. So connect to the right SSID, and I think yeah, we should be good. Cool guys. I think these are the few common issues that people run into, or mistakes that people make before they start a survey or during a survey. So let's try to get rid of all these mistakes so that we don't have to do repetitive work and we save our time and effort. Thank you.